Johnny, you reached out to me because you wanted to react to the Andre Ward, Roy Jones interview. Now, I didn't get the full context. I only seen a clip, and I don't like reacting to stuff off of a clip because nuance is a thing. I need to see full scope of what the conversation was and so on and so forth. But the floor is yours. Go ahead.
You know, I looked at it over it a couple times. You know, I've been peeping when it comes to, so I call it like where I say Andre Ward is wrong on what he doing and saying, because I call it like it's like he emotional attached when it comes to Terrence Crawford. It's like a Terrence Crawford friend group, or it's like a protective agency. So it's like you see Terrence Crawford. Mainly it'd be like, oh, Terrence Crawford friends with like Andre Ward and Clarissa Shields. The one I actually respect every time it gets mentioned is Shakur Stevenson, because Shakur Stevenson don't be biased. He just be like, yo, you could tell they both my friends. I grew up with Boots. I'm real close with but he personally don't want to see it happening because it's an emotional thing with respect. Even if there's some ways like, yo, if people around Bud be like, yo, I'm closer with Bud, so I root for Bud, that's cool. But when it comes to Andre Ward, and I see it in Clarissa Shields, it's like, if I was Boots, when it comes to Ward, it's like, and it's crazy to say about Ward because I love Ward.
Ward's my favorite fighter.
Yeah, everybody, when you're a black, especially a black American boxer, Ward is one of them that you come up and idolize, you respect. So it's like what he's saying about Boots, he is like every time when Bud gets mentioned about Boots, it's like he brings up, oh, who has Boots' fault? Oh, he didn't really fight nobody, which is being painted a narrative around him, right? So it's painting a false narrative because you look at it like that's how Roy Jones had to counter. Like, hold up, he just fought Stanionis, who was a threat to the whole, was a champion, a threat to the whole division. And yeah, Boots made him look bad, styles and all that, but we get it. But that's not a bad fighter. And people forget that Stanionis was an Olympian, an undefeated Olympian and champion. So that's even go. You can even go back. This is let's go to when Boots was fighting Sergey Lipinets. He retired Lamont Peterson, right?
Yeah.
He had a draw with Castillo Clayton. That was a last-minute fight. He had a draw with who was a Canadian Olympian.
It was supposed to be Castillo at Dukaparov.
Yeah, and Castillo Clayton is an Olympian. People forget about that. So y'all criticizing is Ward really knows. Is like y'all putting this narrative that he don't fight nobody, just so it could be a reason why he don't get attached to Bud. But if you go back and be like Andre Ward, where you're wrong at is like, this is another black young kid, right? Who's really trying to break in, because right now people are not trying to be in first line to fight him because he's not vulnerable. He's been in that position. That's like, imagine when before the Super 6, because you remember the Super 6, Andre Ward's first fight was against Mikael Kessler. I was one of them. Most people, you hear Antonio Tarver and all them was like, yeah, Mikael Kessler is a favorite because he's been around, two-time champion, stuff like that. Andre Ward didn't fight nobody yet, this and that. But I was like, but when that fight came, I was like, Andre Ward is going to beat him. You know why? Because he's young and he's a different breed. He haven't lost in the amateur since he was like 10 years old. So that whole painting a narrative on him is like, I get it that Crawford's y'all friend. It's like, but y'all got to be fair. Y'all got to really like also put the support in Boots. It's like, yeah, it'd be a good fight. I wouldn't even be, nobody would be irritated if you favored Bud because that's your friend and that's how you do. But don't downplay somebody's resume when they resume is really better than what the whole narrative and what the media is trying to push, because now you're one of them media outlets that's trying to put he didn't fight nobody. So the downplay, because he's a, the word is a threat. He's a threat to Bud. So y'all trying to downplay where it's be like, all right, if they fight, great money. Do I want to see him fight him now? I can get it where you be like, oh, it's 10 years difference. I get that also excuse on Bud. But when it comes to him, Clarissa Shields too, because every time it got brought up on Clarissa Shields, it's like, who did Boots fight? why y'all saying that? Then is like weird when it's like behind the scenes y'all cool with him. So it's kind of weird. So that's what I was like when I seen it. Is Andre Ward is wrong for that.
All right, so the context that he was saying it in is he was talking about that he's worried about Boots fighting at a certain level and then developing bad habits because you can get away with stuff at that level.
Yeah.
And that he's worried because he hadn't fought an elite level fighter yet, that when he gets in there with an elite level fighter, he's built these bad habits because he was able to get away with this, and that it hurts him in the long run. I understand that logic. It's all right. So you have Ward, to me, was a naturally cautious fighter. Naturally cautious, did everything the right way, whereas the Roy, ultra talented, unorthodox.
Yeah.
I think Roy sees a semblance of himself in Boots.
Yeah.
To where as though, he can sympathize with Boots' struggles as far as being everybody that you fight because you do them dirty, then all of a sudden they're bums because you make them look like that. And so to me, that was Roy's life for the better part of his career. People kind of disregard Roy's opponents because even
he was so much like
he was just worlds better than damn near everybody he fought when he was at his best, even though they were looked at as good fighters before him.
Yeah.
So I understand Ward's position. I understand Roy's position. The only thing that I would ask, and mind you, when it comes to Andre Ward, I'm biased. He's my favorite fighter of all time.
He's one of my favorite fighters too.
The only thing that I would ask is that I feel like sometimes we give people the benefit of the doubt when we want to, and then we go through their resume with a fine-tooth comb when we want to be detractors. If you go through Boots' resume with a fine-tooth comb, not what you think his ability is, because expectations kind of...
His expectations
expectations, because you think he's superhuman. And Stanionis is a good fight for Virgil, but it's not a good fight for Boots. Lipinus is a good fight for Lamont, but it's not a good fight for Boots. I feel like you're letting your expectations kind of hamper your analysis. Sergey Lipinus was a former world champion. Only one loss to Mikey Garcia. That was a good win. Roman Villa defeated Rashidi Ellis. Only one loss. Beat Boca Chica, beat Rashidi Ellis. 2 undefeated fighters in a row.
Yep.
That was a good win. Amanda Stanionis beat Buatayev, Olympian, undefeated world champion. That was a good win. I feel like it's too much. It's too much one way and not enough in the middle when it comes to Jaron Ennis at this point in time.
Yeah, it's a narrative. I think it's really because the situation gets brought up when it comes to Terrence Crawford and Boots. It's like a way of, this ain't the first time. It's a way of like bouncing off that fight because it's a potential threat. But my whole thing is when it comes to Ward, Clarissa Shields, Shakur, he says it more mutual. He just be like, I don't want to see them fight, whatever, because it's emotional attachment. He grew up with Boots. He's real close with Bud. When it comes to them, it's like, all right. Different ways to say it is like when you put the resume, because right now the narrative is always Boots don't fight nobody. Boots this and that. It's putting it on them. Like now people gonna be like, oh, you haven't fought nobody in reality.
Especially if it's somebody of your credibility saying it. But I'm gonna sign off with this point. The only thing that I ask is, are you on record saying these same things when it came to Terrence Crawford before he got his marquee fights?
Yep.
If you did, then you are consistent, and I see nothing wrong with it. But if you delve deep in context when it came to the reason why Terrence Crawford can't get some of these fights, and that his opponents are better than what people are saying, then I have an issue. Because then that makes it picking and choosing based upon your relationships or how you feel towards each guy.
And that's exactly what's going on.